So I lowered my tow vehicle. Today we're going to discuss the pros and also the cons of lowering your tow vehicle and what a little bit of that looks like as far as what it does to your suspension before and also after. And I'll show you some of the hidden benefits that I didn't even realize until after I was done setting this all up. And then we'll talk about a future video coming up where I also go to level out my trailer. So if you guys like this type of content, make sure to subscribe down below so you can follow along, and then hopefully this information also helps you out. Okay, so why am I doing this? Well, I'm trying to get my truck and also my RV trailer to ride like my old setup. You can see this 2016 as it's pulling my RV trailer, it sits nice and level. I didn't have to do any modifications to that at all. I simply hooked up and I went. But now that I've purchased this new truck, which I discussed in an earlier video, these all now sit taller, so this hence pushes the nose of the RV up, not to mention it puts less weight onto the front axle, putting more weight onto the rear axle, and also creates sag, so your headlights end up pointing up to the sky, which is not only bad for night driving, but also annoys other drivers. So I've been on a mission to level out my truck, trying out timbrins, also airbags, and I'm also going to be doing modifications to the trailer, so that could be some good information for you as well. Now there's a lot of information in this video. I'm going to show you what my truck looked like bone stock, then after I did all the modifications, and then we'll even do a side-by-side comparison with another stock vehicle. That way you can kind of see the differences between the two, which if you didn't have two vehicles side by side, it would actually be pretty hard to tell. Okay, now one of the things I did first is when I had the truck bone stock, I ended up taking measurements at all four wheel locations. That way I could write this down, have some information before I did any modifications. And this was even before I installed the airbags more. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the truck looks like stock unloaded and also loaded with the RV. So now as we look at the difference between unloaded and loaded, after hooking up the fifth wheel, the front change was minimal to none, but the rear did drop down almost 3 inches. Okay, now that we have some baseline numbers to go off of, this is where I ended up modifying the suspension, which there's not really a whole lot to do on these Chevy 2500s because I use a torsion bar setup, and it's actually easier to turn the screws and make the truck go up than it is to go down because there's only so much room to work with, which I found that out. Now for about every 4 turns roughly, you will lower the truck about a ½ an inch, give or take. It also depends on where the left side screw is and also where the right side screw is. Now the whole goal was for me to get a full 1 inch drop on the truck front and back so I could continue to still have that same look but have it be lower. Well, there is only so much room that you can go on the front torsion bars and also those bump stops or joust bumpers, to where once you go down too much, well, that's when your ride pretty much goes completely to crap. And so what I found out is that once you get to 3/4 of an inch or past that, that is where the ride becomes noticeably more harsh and stiffer. If you go all the way down an inch lower, this is where your ride really falls apart, steering angles really become off and more. So this is where I had to raise the vehicle back up, take new measurements, and so what I found out is that I was able to do a ½ inch drop. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the suspension between the stock setup and also a ½ inch drop. Now I've been driving my truck now for a couple weeks by the time this video actually comes out. And for me and everything, I've noticed the ride is still very manageable. You probably can't even tell anything's been changed, but visually, you can actually see a little bit of a difference. Now, while sitting in the driver's seat, this is where I can actually tell that the hood actually looks like, instead of just going straight out kind of forever, actually looks like it slopes down a little bit like how my old truck did, which you wouldn't really think you would notice with just a half-inch drop. But the benefits of this half-inch drop actually allowed for a couple things that I didn't even know was going to happen. One of them was I was really hoping for is to be able to get back into the garage which I work at, and this was able to slide right under the little height beams with basically about a 1/4 inch to spare. So dropping the front end was actually beneficial, and now it allows me to park in that garage again. Now, one of the other benefits that we'll talk about here in a moment, but I want to go over one of the cons really, because again, there is a certain point to where if you go too low, there's a lot of things that change and can actually start to cost you quite a bit of money. Now, even though I only went down a 1/2 inch, I still had to take this over to Les Schwab and have them check the alignment. And from what I found, it had actually just a 1/2 inch down, threw the alignment out a decent enough to where it was very noticeable for them on their machines. And even when I was driving this down the freeway, I could tell that it didn't quite steer the same. So I had the vehicle realigned, but here's another thing that can also happen. Because you have a lot of cameras on this truck, that they will have to reprogram or basically recalibrate your cameras to basically set up the line of distance, because a 1/2 inch isn't much, only a few feet away, but over maybe 100 feet or 200 feet, that drop starts to become very noticeable by several feet. So things like adaptive cruise control may not really work as well or at all, and start to throw codes or errors on your dash. Now, after talking to the guy at Les Schwab, I didn't have any issues that popped up, and he said you might be right at the mark to where there is no recalibration needed. I've been driving my truck around, and also the truck and the trailer, just to see if there's anything noticeably different with the left and the right cameras, not to mention as far as adaptive cruise control while being on the freeway. So they recommended that continue to drive it. If you notice anything different, then bring it back to have those cameras recalibrated back to where the new set height is. Okay, now that the front end is lowered, I was actually wanting to put 1-inch drop shackles on the back, hoping I would get 1 inch, but from every shop that I talked to, they said you normally get a 1/2 inch to maybe 3/4 of an inch, which in my mind actually kind of seemed like that would be a great idea. But here's one of the things I found out is that now that my truck has introduced a little bit more rake, now when I load up my RV, I am almost very close to level, and this is also with no air pressure into the bags. So now I want to show you the truck and the trailer with air in the airbags, and then I'm going to show you what the numbers are with no air in the airbags, just to kind of give you a little bit of a comparison side by side. We're going to take a look at 3 different measurements with its stock, also lowered with 27 psi in the airbag, which at this setting sits almost square at all 4 corners, and also with 0 psi. And feel free to stop this video so you can take a longer look, and this is all subject to change depending on how much weight is in the RV. Now, here's one of the other benefits that I found is that just by lowering the front a 1/2 inch and introducing a little bit more rake to the truck, I was able to lower the amount of PSI that I was putting into the airbags, which is actually really beneficial because a lot of people don't know that by introducing too much air into your airbags, you can stiffen that ride so much to where you can add pressure points to the frame, which it's not really meant for that after a certain PSI. And all the research I've done shows about 60 psi is as much as you want to go, but even then, you could have a really rigid ride, and all that force has to go somewhere. It's going to go into the frame of the truck, where normally there's just a joust bumper there, and all of that load and shock is typically meant for the axles and the leaf springs. So hence, if you can run a lower PSI, that's actually more beneficial for not only the ride, but also for less wear on the airbags and also the truck. I was actually lucky enough to have my neighbor Greg, who came down, and he has the same truck that I do, but it's fully stock. So this makes great side-by-side comparisons. So I'm going to show you the difference between his bone stock truck and then also my truck, just to kind of give you guys some side-by-side information to help you visualize really what this looks like between what my truck looks like now and to what it looked like then. So as you can see here, the stock AT4 truck, you can easily see the difference just standing here in front of it versus my truck that is now lowered, which again, if you didn't have these side by side, you wouldn't really know. And when getting into the driver's seat of the stock AT4, This again looks how my truck did, where the hood just kind of went out forever real flat. But now when you get into my truck, you can see that the hood kind of has a little bit of a slope down, which honestly kind of helps for a little bit of parking and maybe even less wind resistance. And hey, if we get 0.1 mile per gallon extra, hey, there's another benefit. So in the end, was all of this worth it, raising and lowering my truck and doing all this extra work? Definitely yes. Who knew that a half inch could really make that much of a difference, which I guess it does from what I've heard. So when it comes to the pros of this, definitely, I like having the truck a little bit lower in the front, even though there might be a pinch more rake. Again, if you didn't have two vehicles side by side, you would probably never know. And this is a tow vehicle. This isn't meant for just off-roading and going into the dirt and doing a bunch of other stuff. It doesn't mean that these are not capable to go to a lot of different locations, but they do have limits, and because they're so heavy, that just means they sink so much easier. So now that we have got the truck all leveled out, raising the front, lowering the front, adding timbrins, adding airbags, we are finally done with the truck part, which I will be changing out the shocks to something more like the Bilstein 5100s pretty soon. But the shocks on this one are actually still pretty new, but the Rancho ones really are kind of garbage, even though they only have 6,000 miles on them. But the next mission now is to get the trailer level with the tow vehicles. So I will be changing out the suspension, going to the Roadmaster slipper spring setup, and I will be doing a small lift on that as well. So you guys will want to follow along, that way you can see how I do that. I hope you liked this video and the information was helpful. Make sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in another video.